The next topic is research process. Here we will learn how to do our research in a systematic process. The very first step is to define the research problem. As I just discussed, the objective of your research need to be clearly defined. There should not be any vagueness in them. So you need to understand the problem thoroughly. The best approach is to go by the existing literature, find the gaps, paraphrase them, rephrase them, and develop your objective into meaningful terms from an analytical point of view. You can take the help of your colleagues or the people having expertise in that area. The expert person can be your teacher, your anyone from that field you know. So you need to do little search for that and discuss your problem with that person. Their wisdom and experience will help you narrow down your problem as well as to find the meaningful terms for your objective. Once you have finalized your objective and what you want to do, you are required to do the review of literature. Basically, in review of literature, we go by all the available literature to the topic. We check all the previous findings, the methods applied, the area it has been done. To do the review of literature, you can refer academic journals, conference proceedings, government reports, books. The popular sources are Google Scholar, JSTOR, SSRN, ProQuest, libraries, Shodh Ganga. You can go there. Many of the sources are paid, so your institution can take the excess of them, and through your institution, you can access these sources. Once you have defined your objective, you have gone by the literature available. Now you are required to formulate the hypothesis. What are hypotheses? Hypotheses are tentative assumptions. Some assertions I make. It is of two types, null and alternate. In alternate, what I want to actually test, I place. And null, we consider it true unless we have some evidence to reject it. Hypothesis we make to draw out and test logical or empirical consequences. Hypotheses need to be very specific. Generally, exploratory studies don't need working hypothesis. The fourth step is preparing the research design. In simple terms, research design can be defined as the blueprint of your research. I take the example, suppose you are constructing a building. What you will do? You will make one blueprint, how much acres to be devoted, what will be the covered area, what will be the open area, garden area, parking area, number of bedrooms, shaft area, terrace, tiles, furniture, paint. You define everything. You basically create one blueprint of your building you want to construct. Similarly, in research, we create a conceptual structure. How I'm going to collect the data, which methods I'm going to apply, how much time will be involved, what will be my expenditure. I should keep my research design little flexible. For example, before March 2020, you have decided to collect the data by personally interviewing the people and observing what they are saying and writing down what they are saying. But coronavirus happened. Now you cannot move out of your house. You are in a lockdown. What to be done? Thanks to the flexible component in your research design, you modify it and you are taking the interviews in an online mode now or telephonically. So your research design should be little flexible so that it can adjust to the given situation. Basically, research design target the questions like what is the study about, study being made, where will the study be carried out, what type of data is required, where can the required data be found, what period of time will the study include, what will be the samples design, what techniques of data collection will be used, how will the data be analyzed, in what style the report be prepared. Once you have finalized your research design, you have to determine the sample design. Basically, population is known as the census inquiry. It is technically not possible to check each and every element in the population. Many studies are conducted on the sample basis. So you have to be very careful in selecting your sample because on the basis of your sample result, you will make inferences about the population. So there are two ways you can collect the sample, probability samples or non-probability samples. And it is some of the ways are like simple random sampling, convenient sampling, judgment sampling, systematic sampling, stratified cluster sampling. Once you have finalized your sample design, now you're required to collect the data. For primary data, it is generally collected by observation method through personal interview, telephone interview, questionnaires. You can collect the secondary data from data softwares like ACE Equity, ProVest, Capital Line, World Bank databases, and there are many other databases like BSc databases there, NSC databases there, OECD databases there, RBI handbooks and tables are there from where you can collect the data. Few things you should keep in mind while collecting the data. Number one, financial resources, the time you are devoting, the objectives of your study, accuracy, how much is required. All these factors to be kept in mind while collecting the data. After you have collected the data, you are required to do the analysis as data is raw facts and figure and they need to be modified, tabulated or stored to give some information out of it. So here you do the analysis. As per the data, you decide which technique to apply and how to reach the analysis part. After you have got the results, you are supposed to generalize and interpret your results. As this is the most important part, what you are interpreting out of your results. Once even your results are out, you are supposed to prepare the report. This is the generally followed pattern of report. We have a title page, we have an acknowledgement. One must give acknowledgement to all the person helped in reaching and completing that study. Then we have index, we have list of tables and figures, we have abstract. Abstract is the smaller version of your research, like your research is of 100 pages. In abstract is generally of 1 page to 2 page where you define what you have done and what results you have got. A summary of your study is known as abstract. You have introductions, you have literature review, you have research design, you have summary of findings, conclusions, recommendations, interpretations. Clearly mention your limitations and give the bibliography. There are some ethics which need to be followed in research. Your research should be plagiarism free. I take an example. When you were in school and you missed your homework and you haven't completed it, and the teacher is checking the notebooks, what do? You ask your friend, hey, have you completed it? If your friend says yes, what do you say? फटाफट दे मैं कॉपी कर लेता हूँ या कर लेती हूँ. So that copying is plagiarism and it is not accepted in the research world and it is considered as a crime. One must not do the plagiarism. Your research must be plagiarism free. Now the question arises, ma'am, you just said to do the literature review and find the gaps and clearly give the credit to the work you are using. So you need to paraphrase and rephrase the work you are applying in your research with due credits. You should make sure no one is harmed or suffered adverse consequences from research activities. Due regard to previous studies must be given and the data should not be manipulated to get the desired result. Some of the popular careers in research these days are research analyst, marketing analyst, forensic analyst, economic analyst, financial analyst, investment analyst, research assistants, audit analyst. Although there are many books in the market, some of these books are very good for the beginners. You can refer them. Thank you. I hope